Bonjour and bienvenue. You're listening to Fabulously Delicious, the French food podcast, the show where we dive fork first into the heart of French cuisine. I'm your host, Andrew Pryor. Enchanté. I'm a former MasterChef contestant, now living my food-loving dream in France, where every day is a delicious adventure. Today we're getting cozy with one of the most comforting and iconic French dishes of all time, the coq au vin. It's rich, it's rustic, and it's full of flavour. It's the kind of dish that tells a story with every bite. So pour yourself a glass of red or white, depending on what you're into, break off some crusty baguette, and join me as we simmer our way through the history, culture, and the irresistible deliciousness of this classic French favourite. This is Fabulously Delicious. Today, we're talking about a French dish that's as comforting as it is classic, the coq au vin. That's spelt coq, C-O-Q, or A-U, vin, V-I-N. And it literally means rooster with wine, while these days it's usually made with chicken. And the dish stays true to its roots as a slow braised meal. It's full of rich, deep flavours, and you'll often find lardons, mushrooms, onions, and a splash of red wine in the mix. Hearty, rustic, and oh so French. What I love about coq au vin is that it's the kind of dish that tells a story. It started out as a practical way to tenderize tough old roosters and turn them into something delicious. And now it's one of the most recognizable dishes in French cuisine. Whether you've had one in a cozy French bistro or you're just curious about trying it at home, today's episode will take you through the origins, the variations, and why this dish continues to win the hearts and stomachs around the world. While coq au vin is traditionally made with Burgundy wine, a red Burgundy to be precise, being France, full of proud culinary regions, this has given us all sorts of delicious variations. In the Jura region, for example, there's coq au vin Juin, where the chicken is braised in a distinctive nutty white wine. From Alsace, you'll find coq au Riesling, which is made from the region's crisp floral white wines, the Rieslings. And then there's the coq au champagne. Yes, chicken cooked in champagne. Because of course the French would find a way to make braised poultry bubbly and elegant. Some other regional twists include the coq au chambertin from Burgundy again, but using the chambertin wine, or even Nuit Saint-Georges wine, which would be rather expensive. In the Auvergne, you'll find rooster cooked with Côte d'Auvergne wine. And in Beaujolais, there's the coq au pourpre, which is purple in French, or coq au violet. These use the Beaujolais Nouveau wines. These versions might vary slightly in ingredients or accompaniments, but they all follow the same basic idea. Slow cooking to transform a tough bird into something that's more tender, rich, and full of character. Now, as for the coq part, why a rooster and not just chicken? Well, the rooster, or le coq gules, has long been a symbol of France. The story goes all the way back to Roman times. In Latin, the word gallus means both rooster and Gaul, which was the Roman name for the region that would then later become France. Over time, the rooster came to represent the spirit of the French people. Proud, resilient, and maybe just a little bit feisty. So whilst most modern recipes use chicken, the name coq au vin is a little nod to French history and identity. Like many great French dishes, coq au vin comes from its fair share of legends, some a little far-fetched, but all part of the charm. One of the most enduring myths takes us back to ancient Gaul and the time of Julius Caesar. According to legend, during the siege of Gergovia in 52 BC, the Gaelic chieftain, leader of the Arverni tribe at the time, which is what is known now as Auvergne, sent a proud Gaelic rooster to Caesar, a symbol of bravery and defiance. In response, Caesar invited him to a Roman banquet and served the rooster back to him, braised in wine. Whether it's fact or fantasy, the story ties the dish to the symbolic role of the rooster in French identity and the ancient tradition of cooking with wine. Following that dramatic dinner party, if it even happened, history goes a bit quiet on the coq au vin front. Despite its supposed ancient roots, the dish didn't show up in print until much later. The first documented recipe resembling coq au vin didn't even appear until the early 20th century. Though a somewhat similar dish, poulet au vin blanc, chicken in white wine, popped up in an 1864 cookbook. This all suggests that braising poultry in wine had long been a rural French cooking. Even if the name coq au vin hadn't made it onto the page, like many rustic peasant dishes, it has likely existed for centuries as part of an oral tradition, cooked, enjoyed, and passed down at the family table rather than written into culinary history books. Planning a trip to France? Heading to Paris? Or maybe you're one of those lucky ones that live in the city of lights, love and good food. Whether you're planning your dream foodie adventure or just looking to savour the best that Paris has to offer, I've got you covered. After years of living in and indulging my way through Paris, I'm thrilled to share all my delicious discoveries with you, my fabulously delicious audience. If you love French food as much as I do, then this book, I think, is made for you. Introducing the 2025 edition of Paris, a fabulous food guide to the world's most delicious city. It isn't just an update, it's a celebration of all things food in Paris. It's packed with even more hand-picked recommendations, and the guide now features expanded sections for restaurants, cafes, bars, fromageries, boulangeries, and patisseries. Plus, I've added exciting new sections for vegan and vegetarian options, dining with a view, and a revamped and expanded walking tour to help you explore the city bite by bite. With over 400 listings including iconic food streets, gourmet supply stores, wine bars, and more, the guide is an ultimate companion for anyone craving a true taste of Paris. Whether you're hunting down flaky croissants, creamy cheeses, or the perfectly poured café creme, you'll find it all inside. You can grab your copy today at andrewpryorfabulously.com, where there's even a gift package signed version of it. Or head over to Amazon, where you can find it there, and there's a Kindle version for instant access as well. Bon appetit and happy exploring, mes amis. There's also a link between coq au vin and King Henri IV of France, who famously promised a chicken in every pot to ensure prosperity for all his subjects. Whilst Henri probably didn't have wine-braised rooster in mind specifically, the spirit of that phrase, nourishing, rustic, generous, certainly matches what coq au vin represents. And over time, the dish became a symbol of comfort and rural abundance, a reminder of France's agrarian roots and culinary creativity. Then there's the Beaujolais connection, which brings us into the 20th century, and the story of the little cafe in the village of Jura, in the heart of wine country. The cafe was named Le Coq au Vin and became a favourite among local winemakers who'd gather to drink pints of Beaujolais and feast on the house specialty, a deeply aromatic stew of chicken that's been slowly braised in the red wine. Whether the owners truly invented the dish is up for debate, but their name and the timing helped popularise it in the early 1900s, around the same time that regional variations began to flourish, proudly highlighting the local wine. But it wasn't until the 1960s that coq au vin really made its mark outside of France, thanks to the legendary Julia Child. Along with Simone Beck and Louise Berthold in their groundbreaking 1961 cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, coq au vin appeared as a standout recipe. Julia went on to prepare it not forgettable. Need a little bit of French flavour in your feed? Between podcast episodes, I'm serving up short, tasty videos on the rich history of French food, because every dish has a story and I'm dishing it all out on Instagram. You'll also catch snippets of life in France, plenty of behind-the-scenes moments, and even maybe a pastry or two that I didn't eat yet. So, follow at Andrew Pryor Fabulously on Instagram and Threads, and let's turn your social time into snack time, the fabulous French way, of course. Now, while coq in French specifically means rooster or cock, and traditionally the dish was a clever way to make tough, mature birds tender and delicious, most modern versions of coq au vin, they use chicken. These days, it's far easier to find a whole chicken than a stewing rooster, unless of course you happen to live in France, where they're often available at the supermarket, or any market actually. But the spirit of the dish remains the same, taking a humble ingredient and elevating it through technique, patience, and of course a good splash of wine. The base of the classic coq au vin is all about building layers of flavour. Red wine, often Burgundy wine, is the traditional choice for braising, along with lardons, button mushrooms, pearl onions and garlic. Some variations even include a bit of brandy or cognac for an extra hint of depth of flavour. When white wines like vin jaune are used, especially in the Jura version, morels often replace mushrooms, giving the dish a woodsy richness. The process is somewhat similar to a bœuf bourguignon. You season and sometimes flour the chicken, sear it until golden, and then let it gently simmer in wine with a bouquet garni, herbs like thyme, parsley and bay leaf. The sauce is typically thickened at the end with a roux, or, more traditionally, with a bit of blood, though that's a little less common today. I wonder whose blood they're using. If you're keen to give the coq au vin a go yourself, then you're in luck. I've shared my recipe on YouTube, where you can see exactly how I bring this French classic to life. Just check out the link in the show notes and let me know how yours turns out, whether you're channeling a little rustic French countryside or just looking for the ultimate comfort dish. Coq au vin is a recipe worth mastering. Julia Child said about coq au vin, "Coq au vin is certainly one of the most delicious dishes concocted by man." Anthony Bourdain said, "There's nothing fancy or pretentious about coq au vin. It's peasant food. Yes, but it's peasant food with soul." Raymond Blanc said, "Coq au vin is French comfort food at its finest, full of warmth, depth and memory." And Craig Caliborn, a New York Times food critic, said, "In coq au vin, the wine does not mask the flavour of the chicken, it defines it." And that's it for this episode of Fabulously Delicious. Feeling inspired to cook up some coq au vin, or maybe just hungry? I'd love to hear what tickled your taste buds today, whether it was a fun fact, a new twist on the dish, or a craving for crusty breads and red wine. Come say bonjour on Instagram at Andrew Pryor Fabulously, or drop me a line at contact@andrewpryorfabulously.com. I always love chatting to fellow food lovers. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with somebody who loves French food as much as you and I do. And if you're feeling extra fabulous, leave a quick review. It means the world. It helps others discover our little delicious corner of the podcast world. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, you know what my motto is. Whatever you do it fabulously. Merci beaucoup and bon app. And until next time, au revoir.